So let me remind you what President Trump said about the issue of Medicare and Medicaid when he was candidate Trump. So there were some leaks of parts of President Trump's new budget that came out last night. We're going to do a more thorough and complete breakdown of his budget on Thursday. But let me give you a little piece of it, and you'll see what I mean about just how much of a hypocrite he is. So here's what he said back during the campaign about Medicare and Medicaid. I was the first and only potential GOP candidate to state there will be no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Huckabee copied me. Yeah, and that's actually true. He repeatedly said on the campaign trail, I'm not going to cut him. I'm not going to cut him. You've paid into them. You've paid into them your whole life. For me to cut them would be stealing from you. I'm not going to do that. We're going to find a way to fully fund those programs, and that's that. And we're going to stop doing military adventurism and save some money that way. We're going to save some money this way, yada, yada, yada. He said it over and over. Well, now, Trump's new budget, here's what's in it. Whoops. $800 billion in Medicaid cuts. $800 billion. Now, let me explain something. It's not just $800 billion in Medicaid cuts. It's $800 billion plus another $880 billion, because this $800 billion is separate from the $880 billion cut that Trump proposed in Trump Care, his health care bill, his Obamacare replacement. So think about that. What are we talking about here? He said on the campaign trail over and over, I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to cut it. I'm just not going to cut it. It's not going to happen. I'm not cutting Medicare. I'm not cutting Medicaid. I'm not cutting Social Security. It's not going to happen. Well, now we learn it's over $1.6 trillion. $1.6 trillion in cuts that he proposed for Medicaid. There's no other interpretation. There's no way to spin this that's positive or slightly less negative. He's just a fucking liar. That's what he is. That's what it is. I don't give a fuck how much, oh yeah, Trump train, MAGA bitch, make America great again. Make your mind function again. Because there's no wiggling out of this, man. This is as clear-cut a lie as there is. Now, maybe at the end of the day, he doesn't get these cuts through, or doesn't get all of the cuts through, but he said on the campaign, I'm not going to cut it, not going to do it, and now he's proposing exactly that, which means if he had his druthers, this would pass, this would be law, his budget would be in place, his health care bill would be in place, which would mean over $1.6 trillion in Medicaid cuts, when he said, I'm not going to cut Medicaid. So, I mean, guys, I'm amazed that there are still people who would defend him and what he's in the process of doing, and I'm also amazed that anybody thinks he has any kind of moral core or guiding principle. He has nothing. There's no moral core, there's no guiding principles, there's no actual beliefs there. He's just ethically and morally adrift. He's out there, oscillating in the wind. He's just an amorphous blob of nothing in terms of his thoughts and his beliefs. And wherever the winds slightly happen to blow him, I know it's gross, I just said the words blow him, he ends up going in that direction. So when he was on the campaign trail and he's in front of the rally crowds, who's he trying to please? He's trying to please the rally crowds. So what do you do when you're trying to please rally crowds? Tell them what they want to hear. What do they want to hear? They want to hear, hey, crooked Hillary, lock her up. And let's do infrastructure bills and rebuild the middle class, and don't outsource jobs, don't do TPP, don't cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Because even the Republican base, they're economically populist. They don't want their job to be shipped overseas. So Trump he knew that. He's out there saying, yeah, let's be protectionist, let's bring back tariffs. But that's just all talk. It's all talk because that's who he's in front of. Now, who's he surrounded by 24/7? He's surrounded by the elite, the establishment. He's got 4 Goldman Sachs guys in top positions in his administration. Who's he going to try to please? He's going to try to please them. He's going to try to please the neocons in the deep state who run the military-industrial complex, who are now running our foreign policy. He's going to try to please the generals. So Mr. Anti-Establishment, it was just because he was sensing the mood in the room at the rallies and he was running with it. Well, now that he's behind closed doors, he thinks time for me to be a serious president. And what does a serious president do? They let the establishment get away with whatever they want to get away with. That's the path of least resistance when you're behind those doors in the Oval Office. So that's exactly what he's doing. What does the establishment want? Over $1.6 trillion in cuts to Medicaid because, fucking poor people and their health care. Fuck them. Fuck them. Who cares about them? Let's give more tax cuts to Goldman Sachs and to the rich and to corporations. Wouldn't that be great? And that's exactly who he's serving. Make America great again by cutting $1.6 trillion in healthcare from poor people. You should feel like a chump. You should feel like a sucker if you fell for it, because that's exactly what you are.